You will never stall a car if you learn to listen to the motor and how to use the friction point correctly where the motor and the wheels are actually connecting to each other. And these diagrams hopefully will make it clear as to how the clutch and the motor do come together, and instructions there on how to actually bring the clutch out and meet the motor without going past that point where the motor stalls because we've got the motor trying to turn the wheels before it can actually move them gently in the first place. So this is an easy way to do it. Good luck and have fun. This is a moving model of the clutch and motor. So on the right hand side where I'm pointing is the motor, and on the left side is the clutch pad. So when you bring your clutch out from the floor, it will come out and you'll stop halfway out where the clutch is just touching the edge of the motor. Then you have to stop moving it and then let the clutch connect very gently. What happens when we stall is we bring the clutch all the way out without stopping and slamming that clutch pad straight into the motor, and the motor can't keep turning the wheels at the speed you want it to, so therefore it just stalls. So the ideal situation is to bring your clutch out from the floor and stop it where you know the friction point is, or work out where it is, and then stop just before it touches the motor, then let it engage very, very slowly, listening to the motor turn the wheels. And if the motor's struggling, then put the clutch back in or leave it where it is, but don't keep letting it out any further, and give it a little bit more power and then keep letting it out. If we continue listening to the motor all the time, we cannot stall the vehicle because we wouldn't let the motor struggle any more than it has to by letting the clutch out further. So I hope this makes sense, and good luck with your practicing. How to set up your left foot on the clutch pedal is by putting your heel on the floor and resting just the top of your foot on the pedal. So your shoe is just covering the pedal, that it's not too high. And then depress the pedal to the floor and your heel should slide along the floor. And when you let the clutch out, you let your heel slide along the floor until you reach the friction point. Plant your heel on the floor so you can just use the end of your foot rather than your whole leg to go through the little bit of the friction point. And once you can feel the motor and the clutch is connected, then you can let your heel slide all the way out and let the clutch off, and then place your foot on the footrest to the left of the pedal. Now with your right foot, your foot should be in a straight line with the brake pedal, your heel on the floor and just your toes covering the pedal. And then your heel should never move and your foot twists across to the accelerator and back to the brake, and your heel should never move. If you're not using the brake or the accelerator, just rest your foot on the accelerator and you will notice that your knee also falls to the driver's door, so therefore some support there as well. We are now going to practice using that friction point without the pressure of other cars around you or being on a busy road. So first of all, just find a quiet spot where there's a little bit of a roll so the car can roll back but not too much, and then with your clutch in and brake on and in first gear and the motor operating, take your foot off the brake and bring your clutch out to the friction point. And if you go past the friction point it will stall, but if you don't, then if it's just moving a little bit, just adjust the clutch a fraction. Now at this stage you should have your heel on the floor, so you're just using the end of your foot, so it makes it easy rather than using your whole leg. So we come out to the friction point and finally find that sweet spot so it's not moving forward or backwards. And then once you're not moving, then just get used to using the pedal in and out just a fraction so that you can see which way the car goes. So if you bring it out a bit too far, the motor will start to turn the wheels, if you push it in a little bit too far, the car will roll back because nothing's holding it. So just get used to doing that over and over until you get used to exactly where the friction point is and where it is, so that you can move forward or backwards and then find it and hold it. So once you've finally got to the point where you're holding it nicely, then rev the motor a little and then do your checks. If it's all okay, then you could move off. So you just have to bring the clutch out slowly through that little from the friction point about 1/4 of an inch, and you will actually hear when the motor and the clutch are completely connected. Then you can take the clutch off as quick as you like because it's all connected, and then accelerate. I hope this all makes sense, but just keep trying to find that friction point and learning to move just a fraction, then adjusting the clutch just a fraction to stop it from moving one way or the other. And once you get nice and comfortable with this, you will find it very easy once you're changing gears as well on the move, because that's the exact same thing that you do when you're changing gears. You come out to the friction point, stop, through the little bit, once it's connected, off it altogether, then back on the accelerator. And it is so simple and easy once we do get used to using the friction point and knowing how to use it correctly. So I hope this all makes sense, but please just persist. It normally takes about 3 lessons for the clutch to come together, so don't think you can't do it after just one practice. Another good tip also is, when you do find the friction point, don't have any revs on until you can hear the motor. It should be just vibrating as it connects the clutch to the motor, because you want to listen to how the motor sounds, because if you're in a wrong gear, the motor will sound a little different and will be struggling just a fraction more, so you won't take off and stall. Whereas if you have revs up and find the friction point and take off, you're not going to hear that you are actually in a wrong gear. So always listen to the motor. It tells you what to do. So if the motor is revving, you go up a gear. If it's struggling, you go down a gear. If it's doing neither, then leave the gear where it is. But just remember, do not accelerate to find your friction point for 2 reasons. It'll rip the hell out of your clutch as well, the motor will, but also you won't know which gear you're in if it's in the wrong gear. I hope these little tips are helpful as well. Good luck and take care.